Today, for the second time, I am going to be listening to Metallica's Ride the Lightning. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special video that I've been talking about doing now for quite a while. I have my buddy Chris here with me. Chris, remote Chris.
Cool Chris.
Cool Chris. That's right. We were talking about that in the chat. Cool Chris. Cool Chris. Cool Chris. Now that makes me think of Home Alone, right? Cool jerk. Get out of here, you nosy little pervert. I'm going to smash you silly. Right?
Well, you know, we've all got them.
Okay. So this is going to be a fun video. It's something I've been talking about for a while. If this is your first video on my channel, which I know every time we upload a Metallica video, there's always a handful of people who that's their first video of us. So first of all, know that this year on my channel since February, so basically this entire year, we have been going back through and I have been listening to all of the Metallica albums for the very first time. Every video is super long. We go very in depth. We talk about the production. We talk about songwriting. We talk about all sorts of different things. We talk about a lot of things that have nothing to do with Metallica, even in the Metallica videos. So podcast warning, as we always have to do. But this is something I've been talking about doing for a while because if you have been with us for a while, you'll know that the very first Metallica album reaction we did on my channel, it was myself and my friend Chris Schoenberg, who is here with me in person, present Chris, and we listened to Ride the Lightning for the very first time. And a lot of people really despise that video. And I think probably justifiably so, because it was the first time I had ever done a reaction with another person, let alone the fact that that person was here in person with me. And so we got really excited. I was super excited that I had someone here to talk about music with. And Chris and I have known each other for many years, just like Chris Parker and I here. Cool Chris and I do. Mm-hmm. But we have a good rapport together. And so we just ended up talking over a large majority of the music. And we got a lot of feedback, a lot of criticism from that episode. And we learned from that. And all of our videos since then have been much better, I think.
I was not there to tell you to shut the hell up so that people would, you know, because you're going to make them all mad. Exactly.
And Chris's catchphrase is shut the hell up. Everybody loved it when you said shut the hell up every time. So if you're unfamiliar with our channel, feel free to go back and watch all of our videos. If you really like us and you're having fun with us, then maybe check out the old Ride the Lightning video. But if you don't want to get too mad at us for talking over all the guitar solos and barely ever listening to whatever the Call of Ktulu, the instrumental song is, just, you know, stick with this video for now and don't bother with that one. Another thing I want to say for all Metallica fans out there, thank you so much for being with us for so long. I keep getting comments all the time, and as I've said now in several videos, I cannot keep up with all the comments. I get so many throughout the day, and I try to read as many of them as I can, and I just can't get through all of them. But no, if I thumbs up your comment, I read the entire thing, and if I really liked your comment, I'll try to respond back. Chris, we got a comment yesterday that was talking about, it was a really great comment from someone who just discovered us from the last video we did, which was Demo Magnetic, and Beyond Magnetic and Demo Magnetic, I think, right? Yeah. And anyway, this person had a really nice comment, and it was really great, but in the second paragraph of his comment, he wanted us to listen to a band that I had never heard of before called, it was either Ghost Bear or Bear Ghost. Does that sound familiar to you?
Nope.
I had never heard of that band, and so last night I was laying in bed, and I loaded them up on Spotify, and I listened to the first song and a half, and let me tell you, Chris, this Bear Ghost / Ghost Bear, whichever one it is, holy crap. This album is a special album, and I don't know if I want to try to do a reaction to it here and just do it like a quick, fast thing at some point, but this album reminded me of Ludo. It reminded me a bit of like Weird Al. It reminded me of, it's very theatrical. And this is just in the first minute or the first song and a half. And I feel like
this is not where I expected this to go. Yeah, I'm excited.
Right. And so I just basically listened to sort of like the first track, which is like a 2.5 minute sort of intro thing. And then the beginning of the next track. And there was strings, there was pizzicato, there was like circus noises, but it was very like sparse. It wasn't like this big giant metal thing at all. There were samples. There was like it was all totally like, I believe, tongue in cheek, like they know what they're doing. It was produced really well from what I could tell. I was using not very good headphones and it was very late at night, but I was super impressed. So I wanted to shout that person out. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, and I'm not going to take the time in the video to look it up, but thank you very much. You hopefully know who you are.
That's awesome. I'm going to look that up. Classic Crime put out a new album just in the last week or so, and they're a local band here in Seattle.
That's cool.
And there was a lot of the same vibes that I got out of that. A lot of Ludo.
Okay.
But with like a grunge tinge, you know.
Oh, okay.
And I'm really enjoying it a lot. It was a type of music that I didn't realize that I had an itch for.
Okay.
Like you listen to a thing, you're like, oh yeah, that's the stuff. When did I quit listening to music like this? You know, and
yeah,
it's really great. I'm about halfway through it so far, but so far so good.
So that's awesome. Okay, now we are through the sort of intro section of what I'm going to call the video, and now we're into the next part. And this part is very important. I have two apologies I have to make. And the first one is a little bit more simple, and that is to you, Chris, because I know as of right now you're getting very close to the video game you've been working on for so long, which is called Wizard with a Gun from Devolver Digital. It's going to be coming out soon. I'm very excited for it, but I feel guilty asking you to do stuff because I know it's sort of crunch time for you, and I know that it's getting to the time where all the cogs are moving at the same speed. And so I thank you very much for joining me for this video.
Yeah, I mean, we don't we're trying to get through the whole game without doing any crunch, which is working out really well so far. Yeah,
that's great.
And so we work 4-day weeks, and which is really great. And so like technically, I am not taking any more time on it daily than I ever did. So I'm free for this as much as you like. But yeah, we are getting close to the end, and I do have a lot of things that I really need to get done. And I have been like throwing myself at it a little bit at night and a little bit on weekends when I, just a couple hours here and there, because I have like a priority list, and it's like I've got to do all these enemies still, but there's this other thing over here that I've been wanting to do for months and things like that. But it's happening.
Awesome.
And we're working right in through. I mean, it's gonna there'll be a patch day one with some updates, and then it's just we've got, which
is industry standard.
Yeah, and I mean. From this side of the curtain on it too, it's like that is really just because a deadline showed up and we weren't ready yet, and we got it especially because console certification, like you have to submit a game to Sony and Microsoft months before it's ready to go.
Okay, and
so if it's not done by then you submit it for console certification and keep working on it up until that point, and then the newest version is significantly more done than the one that you submitted. So
do they have to okay patches and things like that as well?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
If you do something that's like a hot fix, it doesn't take very long. The turnaround's pretty quick. But if you like add features, then it can take up to maybe a month sometimes for that to happen.
Interesting. And so when does the game come out?
October 17th.
Awesome. And it's called Wizard with a Gun.
Yep.
Okay, so the second apology I have to make is to everybody watching this video, except for the people who are here for the first time, because you probably won't care about this. But people who've been watching the channel have noticed at this point, the last like 2 months, I have been coughing in videos, and I have been having to wipe sweat off of me for the last like several videos. And we found out at the last week that we've had COVID here for who knows how long. And so I have been last week I was so sick, just like really badly sick. And it wasn't the kind of, like, when I got COVID the first time back when its first rounds, like, I had a whole day where I, like, could not get out of bed. Like, I was like, I had no energy, no strength. I could not get out of bed. It felt terrible. And then for me, like, every day after that was sort of like a different symptom. So, like, the next day I had a bad stomach ache. The next day I had a bad headache. The next day I had, I was really sore. And then after about a week or so, I was pretty much totally over it. And, we just had to wait the certain amount of time at the time to, like, start going out and stuff. This time,
So this is your second time?
This is my second time, yeah. And this has just been the strangest 2 months for me because, like I've said, people who've been watching our videos know that I've been coughing in the videos, and I try not to do it as much as possible. And, some of the videos that go back a little ways, like my Grace Potter video and all that stuff, like, some of the videos I had a harder time than others, where it was hard for me to get through a sentence at certain points without trying to cough, and it sounded very strained. I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. This coughing thing has been extremely weird to me, and I don't know what was going on. And then last week I got COVID, and I had really bad stomach problems, and it wasn't the kind of thing that like knocked me out, but I was very sick for about four days in a row. And basically during that time, my cough kind of went away. And so I was just sort of assuming that it was, I don't know, some kind of like a latent thing or who knows what. And for the last like 4 days, I have barely coughed at all. And then about 2 hours ago, while setting this up, I started to feel my chest. And like, as I sit here now talking to you, like I could just have a coughing fit that would just like, I'd probably pass out. And so that's why I'm sweating my ass off. I believe I have some sort of like lingering effects from COVID. I'll just break out in random sweat. I know people don't care about my health or whatever too much, and so that's totally fine. I don't want to overshare, but like, it's been really weird and kind of hard to deal with some of the things. It's not been that bad, you know? And I tested myself multiple times over the last week, and it's been negative every time. So you know, I think whatever's wrong with me is still sort of lingering effects, but I cannot pass it on anymore. And just like an hour and a half ago, I was sitting upstairs because we started a little late. So I was sitting upstairs watching AEW Dynamite, and I was freezing cold. I had a blanket on me and I was freezing cold. And now I'm sitting here and my arms are, you can see, my arms are literally covered in sweat, just completely covered in sweat. And this will just happen to me throughout the day where I'll get so hot. It's basically like a hot flash. And so I just want to apologize to everybody because on top of this being stupid and annoying and probably maybe gross to some people and like whatever, like this entire year, I was not planning on having my YouTube channel be like a big deal this year because the last 3 years when I've been doing it, I just put out a video whenever I want to. 75 people watch it and it's no big deal. And then when Metallica started to happen and my channel started to grow, and we're growing and growing now to the point where now we have like, I'll tell you the subscribers in 1 second. 3,218 subscribers, which is awesome. This is the first video we've done since I crossed the 3,000 mark, and we're already over 200 over that. So thank you very much for all of that. But I wasn't planning on having this be a big part of my life this year, and it has been, and I've really enjoyed doing it. And what I've tried to do without telling anybody or making any promises was at least record one video every week. And maybe what I wanted us to do with Metallica was every 3 weeks, a Metallica video. Every 3 or 4 weeks, a Metallica video. Like a big video. You know, whether we didn't do a Metallica thing, but at least a big video. Like I would include the Olivia Rodrigo album as like a big video. I would think of the Pink Floyd reaction that you and Mike and Cody and I did as a big reaction. The Blur album as a big reaction. And so my goal has been to record something at least every week that are like smaller, whatever kind of videos, just videos that are me. And then a big video every 2, 3, or 4 weeks. But trying to stick to the 3-week schedule. However, with the last few weeks, it's just been really hard to record stuff. And last week, I did the stupidest thing in the world. I set all my stuff up, and I finally sat down to record the entire Twisted Metal Season 1 reaction. And it was so hard for me to get through an entire half-hour episode without having a terrible coughing fit. Every one of those episodes has at least, and this is not an exaggeration, at least 200 words I'm going to have to edit out of the episodes, 200 swear words, that are just horrific, including all sorts of violence that I'm going to have to blur out, some nudity probably that I'm going to have to blur out, all sorts of weird Mad Maxy type of things.
Was this a surprise to you?
Yeah, I had no clue that the show was going to be like hard R. Like it is hard R. And I wasn't anticipating that. You know, none of the games have any swear words in them as far as I can remember. Maybe Twisted Metal Black does. But other than, and that one, I don't even think there's no F words in that or anything. Maybe a SH, you know.
I mean, it was, 95.
PS2. Yeah, PS2. Well, it was 2001 or 2002, I think. But
Yeah.
But yeah, yes, for sure. And so anyway, so I put a lot of energy into that, and I honestly don't know if I'm ever going to get around to editing them because it's going to be so hard. So I wasted a lot of time doing those when I could have been recording like good important videos for this channel. I mean, I was doing it for this channel too, but I just want to let everybody know that. And also, just cannot freaking stop sweating right now, and it's so annoying. Okay, so that's the health stuff. I'm going to post a post on our Metallica on my YouTube channel tomorrow telling everybody this, and this won't come out till next week probably, but this video you're watching now. But this week, as we're recording this, which is the end of September, I was originally planning to have us do Lulu this week. However, with everything that's been going on and the fact that we've had COVID in our house, we can't have Chris Schoenberg come over because I do not want to give him COVID with his less than 4-month-old daughter at home. So
correct.
So we don't want to take any chances for that. So that's why we're doing this video here, because it's something you and I can do. There's no risk in terms of health unless I die while we're doing this. But in that case, you'll have to fly to my house and upload the video so we can get the views.
I would say I could probably call somebody and have them do it.
No one around here would be able to figure it out. Chris Schoenberg maybe, but don't ask anyone from my family because they would have no clue how to even turn my computer on.
Ain't that the way? All the time.
It is absolutely the way. So that's all that stuff done. Okay, so now I want to just rapid fire through a couple of things before we get into listening to the music. First thing, I went to Goodwill today and I bought this CD. It's Peter Himmelman's album Synesthesia. Okay? Now, I bought this looking at it thinking, ooh, that's kind of an interesting cover. And I know you probably can't see the Synesthesia logo down here, but it's like a bright yellow color. It's very like neon-y 80s. And I thought, oh, this is a synth pop album from the 80s. I looked on the back. It's from 89. I'm like, ooh, it probably will sound pretty good. I looked at the back. It's a lot of songs. It's on Island Records. Everything on this was indicating to me this is going to be like a cool little synth poppy type of album, maybe. And it wasn't at all that. It wasn't that at all. And at first I was kind of mad because I heard some saxophone, I heard some strummed acoustic guitar, which are like the two least favorite things in the world to me. But I want to say that we talk about production a lot on this channel. And we talk about compression a lot, and we talk about the compression wars, especially when we're talking about Metallica with Death Magnetic and the height of the compression wars, the album that ended the compression wars. So I just wanted to let everybody know that this album by Peter Himmelman, Synesthesia by Peter Himmelman, which I looked and I'm pretty sure it's on everywhere. It should be everywhere. It's not a hugely popular album. It sounds very, very, very good. There is a lot of variety on the album. The playing is absolutely phenomenal. It is like a virtuoso guitar and bass playing in songs that don't call for that, but it's very tasty. So there's several songs at the beginning of the album where the bass player plays fretless bass, and he is flying over the frets on the fretless bass. But the songs don't necessarily need that, but it doesn't take away from it. And so I just wanted to let everybody know, it's not very often that I like recommend stuff. And this is something I have no love for this other than just like my listening to it earlier today. This is just a really well-produced album that is a fantastic example of what music sounded like before the compression wars started. I think everything sounds as clear and crystal as it can, and I think that the production is done very well. The only thing on this album that I would say is maybe a negative is that the vocals have a lot of slapback echo on them. And at first, I was like, it was taking me out too much because everything else has that sort of like gated 80s reverb on it, that sort of enormous 80s reverb. But I really like the way that the reverb is done on this album. And the more I listen to the songs, I realize that they're sort of dialing in the slap back more and less depending on what the songs require. If it's a more energetic song, there'll be a little bit more delay and effects on his vocals. And that's absolutely what you want to do when you're mixing an album. If you have an acoustic track, you want it to have the vocals to be a little bit more intimate sounding. And you can still have lots of reverb, but you don't really want a lot of slap back delay because you would have to have a long delay as opposed to a short one. And so I just want to shout this out. This is a great example of an album with really good production that probably nobody watching this video knows. I didn't know it until a few hours ago. And I just wanted to say, look this up. Peter Himmelman's album, Synesthesia.
Peter Himmelman probably watches this channel.
I would love it if he does.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be great.
I had a thought.
I'll tag him in the video. So
I had a thought about Metallica the other day.
Okay.
I was thinking about, I shouldn't even start this story. I don't know if I know what I'm talking about.
Do you want to think about it while I do one other thing that I want to just do real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, you think about it. So, Shoot, I left it all the way over there. I have to stand up. Please don't look at my pants. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, I'm back. So the thing I want to show you now real quick, this is such a weird thing, but I saw it, thought it was cool. I sent a picture to Cody, who I feature here on my channel all the time, and he was like, how much is it? I said, it's $4, and he was like, buy it for me, we'll put it on the wall. So this is a picture. I promise I'll get it out of the like reflection so you can see. So you can see the name on the bottom here. It says Rosamond. I believe her name is Christine Rosamond, the lady who made this. And it's just an interesting style of art, I thought.
Yeah.
This is a fully finished piece of art, and it's the style that she has all of her pieces. It's sort of like these big white empty pieces that look unfinished, and then these sort of more detailed pencil drawings with some like watercolor.
Huh.
And so this picture itself has a lot of water damage down here and on the side. So it's not worth anything. You know, if you look up her pictures on eBay, they're all like $120, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was going to just put it on the wall over here and replace the like Troy and Abed poster I have up on the wall right now. But I didn't want to mess around with moving my camera. And, you know, I have everything shrunk in so that when we do just you and I together, we can each be as big as possible on the screen. So that was my easy way of showing that. So just a weird little thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. Did you think of your Metallica thing?
Sort of. I was talking to somebody the other day about voice acting and how people who can do impressions, doing impressions of characters is significantly different than being the actor themselves. Because, because when you're doing an impression, you're doing an impression of a line that's already been delivered. And the actor is the one that creates the delivery. And that's the part that's hard.
Sure.
And I equated
there's an infinite amount of ways to say any two words.
Exactly.
You know?
And I equated that to just because you can cover songs does not mean that you can write them.
Absolutely.
And I was thinking about, and somehow this is the part where this thought, there's a spot missing in the middle. But the thing that I think was so interesting about the demo magnetic thing, where the one when Chris and I were listening to it and like really enjoying the little differences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is because I don't know. I can't remember why I liked it so much and why it was related to what I was talking about.
Well, you were initially, when we were listening to it, you were talking about how you really liked all the changes that, or at least the way things had started. And I read a ton of comments of people all saying, like, you and I specifically, and even Chris Schoenberg, really enjoyed the overdub vocals, right? The harmony vocals, the second vocal takes or lines. And everyone was saying that was Bob Rock that made him do that. Or Rick Rubin, whichever one produced that album. I'm not sure.
I was going to say, Rick Rubin was Death Magnetic. That's when they switched off Bob Rock.
Everyone was saying, like, it's Rick Rubin's fault. Like, he's the one that wanted it to all be this way. They had initially envisioned the album sounding more like the demos. And then the reason everything sounds the way it is because of him and his production. So
he's legendary, though, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, he worked on a lot. I just saw something the other day that he did in the same year as Death Magnetic. So I don't know.
But yeah, I just think it's really neat to see just how, the songwriting process goes. Like that's a perfect example of creating it instead of just copying it. I don't know. This thought doesn't really go anywhere because there's a really important piece of it missing.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Another comment we got a lot of people saying, do you know what the Palisadia or Palisado Metallica songs are? Do you know? Does that ring a bell at all? I know I didn't say a word there.
I mean, I know the word Palisade, but I don't know it in context of anything Metallica related.
Based on the way people were explaining it to me in the comments, before Metallica recorded Saint Anger, they went into a studio that was called in Palisades, California, I think, or something like that. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Or it was called Palisadia Studio or Palisadio or something like that. And what they did was they recorded demos of like 15 songs or something. I'm not sure the exact amount, but they recorded them all in the studio. And the guy who was working with them at the time mixed them all, and they got released at some point. I'm not sure where, but everyone was saying that they really wanted us to listen to those songs because, according to these people, none of what's on those ended up on Saint Anger. And that there were a couple of riffs that did end up on Death Magnetic, or at least Demo Magnetic, but that people thought that we would really enjoy listening to them because they actually sound pretty decent. And the idea there, that's really interesting to me because I love what they were doing on Saint Anger. I just despise the way that it sounds.
Yeah.
But I really like the vibes that they were getting and the way the songs were structured and the fact that there were no guitar solos even. I like that. Like
it's pretty impressive to do a Metallica style song that's 8 minutes that does not have a guitar solo break and doesn't get boring.
Yeah, right, for sure. So, and I don't know like exactly what the quality of these would be or how long they were, or if they're even cohesive thoughts. And I'm assuming they were all recorded with them live in studio, basically like Demo Magnetic. But a lot of people were saying that they got excited watching us listen to the one Demo Magnetic song, and they wanted us to actually do the whole album. And I had to tell some people, like, I'm sorry, but I've like listened to almost the whole thing myself at this point.
I see.
Because I
haven't yet. I've only ever just heard the one song.
Yeah, I put it in the car when I was driving around the other day, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. But I don't have enough knowledge and familiarity with Death Magnetic to even know like what was any differences or anything like that. I just don't know that, so to me it was just like listening sort of to Death Magnetic again, but sounding a little bit better in my opinion.
I mean, it's not hard,
minus the solos, because the solo was really rough in when we listened to Flamingo. But so anyway, that's another Metallica thing that we can think about doing in the future if we want to. We're gonna do Lulu, and then we're going to do we're going to finish off the studio albums with Hardwired, and we're going to do that before the end of the year, no matter what. I don't care what happens. We're going to finish off Metallica studio albums before the year is over.
Okay, so we got to do Hardwired and Garage and S&M.
No,
or does S&M not count?
I think Garage and S&M we can do into the next year if it drags out that long, because I do have other projects I want to do, and I want to let everybody know, like, I am going to spend a large chunk of October and November and the beginning of December getting ready for my top 12 albums of the year list. I spend a lot of time going through albums, doing that, and then we record the video, and it takes a long time to put together. And so that's something that we're going to be working on for a long periods of time. Like, the channel may not have as many videos over the next 4 months because of that. And I'm fine saying that because I take those videos very seriously, and I myself have been doing them for 12 years at this point. So
wow, man.
This will be the 13th year.
So you only did your top 12 2 years before we did ours together?
Well, no, we started in 2014. I guess I've been doing them for 13 years because I started in 2000. I kind of started in 2009, but 2010 was the first year I released my official video.
Cool. I didn't realize it was that. I thought it'd been something you've been doing for years and years before.
No, just 2010 I started, and then that was when I did my whole top 12 albums of the decade from 2010 to 2020. 3 years ago, which I put way too much effort into those videos to make the justified. Please go watch my playlist of those videos.
Yeah, right.
I put a lot of effort into those and including creating songs and making all sorts of stuff for that. And I used my nephew, who was really young at the time. It's really great stuff.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Patrick Musilek's top 12 albums of the decade.
Number 12. The main purpose of this was I wanted to show my whole list. So I don't even know if you can see it, but I wanted to show all my lists, all 120 albums plus an extra 9. So 129 albums that I considered for being the best albums of the decade. So there's going to be a lot of work on that coming, but we're going to do Lulu. We're going to do Hardwired. And I'm gonna guess we'll still be able to do Lulu in October. Then we're gonna probably have to wait until November to do Hardwired because, and here's the next thing I wanted to talk about, Chris. So Patrick put a timestamp here to switch over to a different topic. I didn't want us to spend too long on the intro, but we have a lot of things to talk about. So I gave this I'm going to give you a tiny little TED Talk here, Chris, okay? And I gave this same TED Talk to Chris Schoenberg the other day, and he told me his opinion on it, but I want to get your opinion, okay?
Okay.
So this is the first time I'm going to be telling everybody this here on the channel. I want to try to do something very special for Halloween. And so we are going to do a special video where we're going to react to a Rob Zombie album. It's something we've been talking about. I got Chris Parker's permission. I got Chris Schoenberg's permission. I think Chris Parker, you would react to Rob Zombie with me any day of the week, probably.
Of course. I love Rob Zombie.
Because he's great. But Chris Schoenberg has never heard any Rob Zombie albums, and I don't think he even knows any of his big songs.
That seems impossible.
I'm sure he's heard them over time, but the other day when I was talking to him about it, he had no clue. He had just no clue what any of them were called or anything. So with that in mind, because I'm so extra, I'm going to do all sorts of try to do a bunch of fun things for this video. I'm going to try to set my stuff up so we're different, make it look all creepy. I want all three of us to be dressed in a Halloween costume. I've been working on mine already, and we need to decide which album to do, Chris, because I'm so scared that if we go through all this work, we make this amazing video and then I upload it and we can't have the music in it. It will ruin the entire thing. So what I'm going to do is I want you to help me right now pick which of the two albums I've been thinking about so that I can rip the CD that I have and try to upload a whole video with all of those songs in it. I'll just
That's
put
what I
it
was just
underneath.
going to say. You should preliminary upload
Right.
one and see if it gets
100%.
flagged. Yeah.
I'm just going to take my Taylor Swift video or maybe even this video or whatever, and I'll drop the album in underneath us talking so that it's as a little bit of simulating us talking, maybe put some space between the songs. And I'm going to do that, and we'll make sure that it's going to work, and so that will maybe dictate which album we do as well. But however, since I have been messing around and talking about Rob Zombie on the channel here for months and months at this point, I have had in my brain that for Halloween I wanted to do something special and I wanted us to listen to Rob Zombie. And so I went back earlier this year, months ago, and I listened to Rob Zombie's entire catalog from front to back. Oh. And first of all, I will say I'm shocked at the consistency of quality. I thought that his albums dropped off after a little bit, and that is absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. So I have a really good grasp right now on Rob Zombie's discography, and I know you have heard for sure. This first album, I know the first one. I'm curious about all the second one. So the second one, I can't stop every. He really thinks that people think that's goes, whoa. That's not too bad. So we're going to talk about what do you think about Rob Zombie? I think I was the first. That's what he said. He said you should be your first part because so with that in mind, that's the one I will move forward with the idea of us doing. I did bring up the idea with him that we could literally listen to both albums in less time than the last 4 Metallica albums we've listened to individually, because both albums combined have a running time of less than any of the most 4 recent Metallica albums. Which is
once we get to our
sick.
top 10, by the way, our top 12, I have a lot to say.
You're going to have 25-minute albums, aren't you? You're going to have a bunch of 20-minute albums.
So many 12-second albums. And I just can't.
You got my message about Royksop, right?
I did, yes. I haven't listened to it yet, but I did.
Yeah,
see
I saw
it's a good thing because I don't have a lot of things on my list.
I've got so much to go through. That's just insane.
There's some good releases coming in October though, so.
Okay, so with that in mind, I had something else over here I was going to do. Instead, I'll just show you real quick. I bought these crazy old headphones at a garage sale yesterday, the Akai ASE9s. And the fun thing about this, I bought it for $3. And I was looking in here, and there's a bunch of booklets for a reel-to-reel tape player. And then, oh, looky, there's a Sony microphone in here. Has nothing to do with the headphones. This is just a box full of audio stuff, basically.
Oh, I see.
Which I didn't know that when I bought this. I just was like, well, I guess I don't want to lie. I did look in the box. I had no clue the microphone was in here because it was in the bottom. You know what? I'll just put that in there later because I don't want to waste time. But there's a bunch of weird cables. There's a bunch of interesting things in here. And I was going to go through and take all this out and show you, and we could have a good fun time looking through it. But we've already wasted enough time, and I don't want to do that. So there you go. Very old headphones. I was even going to plug them in and listen to them and see what they sound like. But hey, who cares? All right, so we have one thing to do before we listen to Ride the Lightning, and that's for me to go get my beverage so I can hopefully stop having to force myself not to cough every 5 seconds. Look right here on my table, and I'll be right back with you in a second. Today, I have something very special for this video. This is the very first time ever I will be trying the 2023 Mountain Dew Voodoo.
Do they have a whole log
release schedule?
Making models and like the 23. Yes, the 20. A fine year for the Mountain Dew Voodoo.
Well, the thing is, Mountain Dew Voodoo every year is a mystery flavor. They've been doing it for like 4 years now, I think. And the first 2 years they did it, it was just sort of like everything that they had left combined together. So it was truly like a mystery flavor. Hold on. I'm going to try it for the first time right now. Wow. That is not very good.
Good.
Wow, that is sweet in a very not soda pop way. Maybe it'll help my throat because it does kind of taste like medicine. Anyway, the last 2 years...
And that's the same. That's all medicine is just a flavor.
Right. The last 2 years, though, I think they've gotten sort of like a sponsorship with a candy company like Spree or M&M's or whatever. Not M&M's, Skittles. To make the mystery flavor a real specific flavor. And then later on in the year, it's like revealed what the actual flavor was.
Red Bull tastes just like Spree. Red Bull is liquid Spree.
The more I drink that, the more I'm going to like it. It kind of tastes like cotton candy, which I'm not a fan of.
Is the orange your ice at the bottom there?
Oh, that's just yes, that is just cherry Kool-Aid that I have as
So
ice.
it's gonna sully the flavor then.
Yeah, I hope so. Yes. Yes. You're usually Mountain. If I had like tea in the bottom, it would be gross. But any flavor of Mountain Dew mixed with a little bit of cherry flavor as it slowly like melts.
I mean
Good stuff.
it seems like a pretty sweet little life hack there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Okay, so Ride the Lightning. Here's the actual CD we're going to be listening to. I ripped this just before we started recording. And I haven't looked at the booklet yet. So I thought one thing we would do is look at the booklet. Is
this remastered?
This is remastered. This is the blackened copy that I got from Amazon for $5. But you yourself right now can go to any Walmart basically in the United States and get a copy of this for $5 flat.
Steal it.
I mean, there's a little probably tax, but...
Always steal from Walmart as much as you can.
The opinions and views expressed by each individual person on this channel are not representative of the whole, or whatever. I love Walmart. Okay, so here's the booklet. This is the first time I'm looking at it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The great Cliff Burton was still in the band at this point, right?
Oh yes, He did not die until today, 1986.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
The day before my birthday, my very first born day, is when Cliff Burton died.
Wait, so your birthday is tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, happy birthday. Thank you for giving me your birthday eve. That's really generous of you. Thank you. So I'm looking at the pictures on the back here, and I'll try to maybe put these up so you guys can see them. Looking at the pictures. Oh, there's a cat. Yes, we just need some cleavage.
Get him out.
Get him out. Okay, so we have Cliff Burton bass, James Hetfield rhythm guitar / vocals, Lars Ulrich drums, Kirk Hammett lead guitar. And then it has the produced by Metallica, assisted by Flemming Rasmussen and Mark Whitaker. We talked about a little bit of this stuff at the time, but
Flemming Rasmussen, I think, was on all of 3 of their first 3 albums.
Okay, I mean that sounds right. That's a name I definitely remember from doing the. When we first did the original Ride the Lightning video, we didn't look up very much information because I didn't want to know anything. And a lot of people said you need to read the wiki and stuff. And I did not do that for this because I chose not to do that on purpose because I just didn't want it to take as long, which here we are an hour later. Now, it's interesting. It says here, Metallica's fight for world domination has been made easier by the following wonderful human beings. Cliff Bernstein, Peter Paterno, Michael Alago, Peter Mensch, John Cochran, and Gary Kassan.
Don't know a single one of them.
Don't know what that's about. A very special thank you to Megaforce and Crazed Management families for making it all happen. And then we do actually have the people who represent them from the East Coast, the West Coast, and Europe, which is kind of interesting. Talks about some different things. And then we have the song lyrics here. So one thing I wanted to make sure you did in this video, Chris, is when we're listening to them, I want you to do your old look up what the songs mean thing.
Oh, sure.
And we can discuss that a little bit as it's going. Now, I will also say, I have, of course, heard this album once before. I have intentionally not opened this until just a little bit before we started recording so I could like get the files before we started recording. And I left it intentionally shut because I kind of had the idea that we were going to do this. So I have not personally gone back and tried to re-listen to this album. However, I have listened to the first track and a half or so, maybe 2 tracks, which there's only 8 or whatever, so that's quite a large percentage. But I have heard Fight Fire with Fire and a little bit of Ride the Lightning since we recorded, because I was just trying to go through, and I need to familiarize myself with these songs and these albums if I'm going to make lists, which we're planning to do at some point as well. So, you know, I have heard a little bit of that, and I do remember this album is the album that's the Fade Out album. So I got my Fade Out board here, and it's ready to go. So we're going to have some fade outs, and it's going to really annoy me because one of the songs on this album specifically, there's like a really great guitar solo, and then it just hitches up, and it finds a second wind, and it keeps going, and it's going, and it's like the most amazing guitar solo Metallica's ever done, and then they just fade it out, and it's just like, and that's one of the reasons I've never made it past the first couple songs. I think it's actually Ride the Lightning that does that, but I could be wrong. So I might glance at the lyrics a little bit every now and then as we're listening, but I'm not going to, try to get distracted doing that. Let's just go ahead and get into this.
Hell yeah.
And we'll start off with Fight Fire with Fire. Now, I do obviously remember this song starts with acoustic guitar.
Yep.
And I'm curious to see if I like this song better than Battery, because Chris Schoenberg loves Battery, and he said that it might be the best album opener of all time. And
I've heard that a lot from other people too.
I have recently gone back and listened to that, but I wasn't in like optimal settings. Like I wasn't sitting with headphones, like concentrating on it. I just had it on. And I was trying to pay attention to it, but we'll see. So I'm curious to see if I like Fight Fire with Fire. Also, I will say, people who've watched my channel may know, I really enjoy Kill 'Em All. Actually, at this point, I think I can fairly say I like Kill 'Em All more as of this moment than Ride and Master. So, but we'll see. That may change. But I really liked the way James did his sort of screaming vocals on Kill 'Em All, and it felt to me like the most like metal that he had ever gotten on any of the albums. Which is why people were
Have you heard? So this is the blackened remaster.
Yes,
and you've heard nothing from this version.
I believe this is the version we listened to the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, I just didn't have the physical CD with me.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure we're going to be listening to the same remaster. Pretty sure.
Good deal.
All right, let's just go ahead and do this. Are you ready?
I have not heard the blackened remaster.
Oh, I'm very excited to see what you think then.
I have the original remaster, the first one.
Do you remember what year that was from?
Probably 2008, maybe.
Okay, that sounds about right in terms of when they did. I mean, of course, the blackened ones are all the more recent ones that they've been going back through and doing all these crazy, releasing these albums in deluxe remasters on their 20th anniversaries or 30th anniversaries or whatever when they originally came out. And Ride the Lightning was no exception to that. So, all right, ready?
Yes.
Okay, Metallica, Ride the Lightning. Track 1, Fight Fire with Fire in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I heard that little bass in there.
That kick drum?
No, the blim 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 blim, the bass.
Oh, I like the kick drum. It's like it's not a blasting your ears off kick drum. It's like a... See,
very
I love
soft.
that. It sounds like a harpsichord.
Yeah.
Now, I think some of this was done with 12-string acoustic guitar.
It sounds like it would have been.
Okay, here we go. Oh, and I'm going to say, we're not going to not talk over the music the entire time. We'll still talk a little bit, but I want to spend more time listening. That ride cymbal, very prominent.
They don't ride much.
No,
they really don't.
Very prominent throughout this whole song so far. No, he's playing hi-hat here.
Right.
It's such a jarring change when the chorus.
Into the chorus?
Yes.
Yeah. I really like this transition, though.
Okay. Do that. Point out stuff to me that you like specifically, you know?
All right.
Lots of reverb and effects on the solo.
I feel like this sounds better than I remember, though.
Honestly, I think it kind of sounds better than Master at the moment. The album. Yeah. That's so In Flames.
Oh, interesting. The solo here?
Oh, yeah. People, in the first video I did that, and people got so mad at me. They're like, In Flames came after Metallica, so you can't compare Metallica to In Flames.
There's that ride again. He does not.
Yep.
Ride is old for.
And it's mixed in there louder than the hi-hat, too.
Lars doesn't ride anymore.
This is kind of like one. Okay. Back into the verse. Yes.
Love that laugh. It's so stupid.
I'm back. You're back.
Same.
Did you stop it, everyone? Did you stop it?
No.
Okay, good.
I love that laugh in there. It's so
Yeah,
like,
that is cool.
old ghost.
And those like gang vocals.
Yep. I do like a ride cymbal can change the groove of a song so easily.
Oh,
like,
for
it's
sure, especially
really
in
crazy.
metal. Especially in metal. Mm-hmm.
Like, "Carry On My Wayward Son," I think is one of the best examples of like as soon as that ride hits.
Okay, okay. So for my thoughts here, this is kind of what I was anticipating. Obviously, I've heard this one multiple times, but there are so many elements to what we're hearing that are disappointing to me because of the amount of reverb on everything. You know, I've kind of mentioned that several times as I've been talking about Master of Puppets in our other videos. And
I feel like Master is kind of muddy. My memory of Master is that it's a little muddy.
I think maybe what I was thinking of was more Ride the Lightning, because like I really liked a lot of elements of things that we were hearing there, but it's just so you have to search into the song to pull it out, right?
I don't know if I agree with that. It seems pretty clear to me.
I just feel like the vocals are a little bit low throughout.
Yeah.
I feel like
the vocals are low. The vocals they're very distant. Reverb there's almost no dry. It seems with the vocals. It's just
and like I really enjoyed those like the fight fire like the like gang vocals, but it's almost like you could be listening to the song easily and not even notice it.
True.
And
very quiet.
I want that to be stereo, and I want that to be sort of like a more obvious thing. And that's what I've wanted Metallica to do throughout their career on all of their albums. They've almost never done that anywhere. And I've talked about that a lot before. That's one of the things I love about Children of Bodom. They do that all the time. And I'm sure that this song was a big influence on them in terms of maybe deciding to add that as a thing in their repertoire as a band. But the solo on this is amazing. I love when it starts. That's, to me, one of the things you have to reach in and pull out. Like, it is very low in the mix. I think it's actually lower than the lead vocals, which we've talked about before from a production standpoint. You should always try to have lead instruments at the same volume as the lead vocals. And I feel like in this song, at least, the solos were lower than the lead vocals. And so again, it's trying to, and I think the lead vocals were a little low as well across the board. So you have to kind of reach in and find them. I like the second part where it switches to wide and they're doing the harmony part. That's amazing. I love that. And that's not really something that Metallica did a lot of on their last, I remember obviously the last like 5 Metallica albums we've done before. So I'm thinking like, Black Album, Load, Reload, Saint Anger, and Death Magnetic. Mm-hmm. They don't really do crazy harmony guitar parts as much anymore. And I know
that's true.
When I first heard this song in that first video, I was like, oh my gosh, guitar harmonies, what is that? And everyone was like, that's Metallica. Metallica is guitar harmonies. And I'm here to tell you now, that is not Metallica. Metallica does not do that very
often. It was Metallica.
Maybe, right? And I'm assuming what people think what people mean when they're saying that is they mean Ride and Master and probably a little bit of Justice as well. Mm-hmm. And 3 albums do not a band who's put out 10 albums make. You know what I mean?
So I tell you, it's one of... So I became a Metallica fan like the day Jason Newsted left the band.
Okay.
And he was for whatever reason, he was one of my favorites. He would just like... He had such a funny, mean mug of a face.
Sure.
But then I think about like Rob, the current bassist for Metallica, to me feels like a replacement.
Okay.
As I'm sure a lot of people consider Jason to feel like a replacement to Cliff. Cliff was in the band from 82 to 87. Nope. 82 to 86.
Okay.
4 years. Jason was in the band from 87 to 01. So a while, 15 years. Rob's been in the band for like 25 years.
Yeah. Sure.
At least 20 years because he joined in 03 with Saint Anger. So it's like Rob's been in the band longer than either of those 2 other guys. Right. And I just still don't feel like he fits there. And it's so weird to think that. And
the funny thing about it is like, I feel like the only time the bass has really mattered in Metallica's music is Load and Reload. And maybe Black Album, you could say.
Interesting.
Other than that, the bass is not a focal point at all. And I think
it's not really, yeah.
And I don't necessarily think it's a big focal point on Load and Reload either. However, I think it's more integral to the overall sound of those albums.
Yeah, I think that the way that those songs are structured and how they're just like slower and have different styles to them makes the bass be more prominent because there's room for it.
Sure. And we know that they'd had a lot of the Metallica detuned their guitars on a lot of those albums, a lot of the songs on those albums. And that will just inherently help the bass sound fatter and beefier and stuff. But I just personally feel like those 2 albums, including Black Album as well, are where the bass shines in Metallica's music. Obviously, Black Album is so different. Like, it's hard to make any statement about Metallica's catalog, and then you think about, well, except for Black Album.
Right, that's why you have to break... Yeah, that's why you have to break Metallica into 3 different eras.
You're right, totally. And so it is interesting to think about it from that perspective. So I will say, like I've said, with this mix, I think the reverb is a little bit disappointing to me. However, people who watched our initial Ride the Lightning reaction will remember one of the things that really surprised Chris Schoenberg the most was the amount of like things that happen within the songs that aren't guitar, bass, drums, vocals. Like in this case, there's that laugh, and then the song ends with that cool explosion sound.
Yeah.
And so I love all those things. You and I have talked about this ad nauseum for years and years. I love the things, those audio sprinkles that are the things in the songs that are not guitar, bass, drums, vocals. And as we've also said a million times, Metallica is basically just a guitar, bass, drums, vocals band. And so,
absolutely. And
so anytime you get something that's a little different, a little separate, you have to appreciate those things, I think. And I remember listening to this album the first time, and I kind of get it mixed up with Master as well, but there's a lot of things that like fly across the stereo spectrum or things that do crazy things. And I remember a lot of people in the comments saying all these things you're talking about, all these sound effects and things, those are all Cliff on the bass, like being really creative with the bass.
Interesting.
So I want to try to make sure I keep that in mind as we go through and listen to this.
Yeah, and I was going to say, because that Fight Fire with Fire is about like nuclear war and global destruction and stuff, which is something they sing about a lot in the 80s.
Sure. Cold War
I
and
think
everything.
By virtue of the Cold War.
Sure.
But that the explosion
War
at the end
has
is part
changed.
of that. War never changes.
War has changed. That's a Metal Gear thing.
Oh, mine is from Fallout.
Oh, there you go.
We're both assholes.
Put them against each other and who wins? Metal Gear would kill it, but that's all right. When you first heard it, what did you think of the mix? Were you pleasantly surprised, or were you like,
Yeah.
You're surprised?
I feel like, and that's the thing too, is like, this is one of those albums where, when's the last time I sat down and really listened to it in this kind of way?
Sure.
And whatever, in which version and stuff, my memory of it is that it is much more of a muddy, reverby mess. And this was, I thought, a pleasant surprise from what I remember.
And maybe the remaster is, I think as far as everyone's concerned online, like these blackened remasters are like the definitive, like best way these albums have ever sounded. So I think they have really good people doing the remasters. I should look on here and see if it says who did the remaster.
And that's the thing too, is like, I historically have never ever been good with remasters. Like I'll hear them and go, yep, that's the same.
Okay, so hold on, I found it. It says remastered by Howie Weinberg at Howie Weinberg Mastering, Los Angeles, California. So shout out to that guy.
Good work, Howie.
Yeah, I think I'm assuming he's the guy that's been doing all their stuff, and he's been doing a fantastic job. When I first heard the guitars, I thought they were a little bit muddy. But then the more I listened to the song, the more I was like, no, I actually do like the way these sound. And I mentioned, I think I like it maybe better than the way Master sounds overall, the album. There's something about the guitars on Master that I just do not like. And I can't put my finger on it. It's like they have like a buzziness to them, like a white noisiness that there's like a frequency in them that I wish would be taken out. And that's really weird. And whenever Chris Schoenberg listens to it, he just like kind of falls over himself like, this just sounds so amazing. And I don't personally get that feeling listening to Master. So it's just curious to think about that now.
I wouldn't mind listening to Master again. Really listening to it. You know?
Maybe we should do that. If people watch this video and they enjoy it, Master would be the other album that would make sense for us to do this, because you were not with us when we did that video. So, all right, let's continue on with the titular song. I think that's how you would say that. Ride the Lightning. Pretty sure this is one that fades out. We're getting a long Metallica song. That first one was only 4:44. This is 6.5 minutes. So, all right, ready?
Yep.
Ride the Lightning in 3, 2, 1. Right away, I gotta say, I hate this riff.
I don't love this riff either.
It's just, it's weird. It's jarring.
Now this one.
Right, this I'm all for.
Yeah.
Simple drums by Lars.
Always.
You can really hear that bass.
Yeah.
That sort of like farty sounding bass. Yes.
Yep.
Toms sound massive.
He is always good at having really big toms.
It sounds like James is pushing himself so hard vocally.
He doesn't usually, this is very high for him.
Yeah. Great chorus. If this is the chorus, I don't know.
Very catchy.
Ba, da, 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 da. Definitely a much slower song.
This is when they got, like, they had their thrash roots, and then they started moving into other things. Like, this song sounds like it could be on Master.
Right, okay. It's an interesting way to look at it. You are recording your audio, right?
Of course. I'm a professional, damn it.
It's so funny now listening to like Death Magnetic and 72 Seasons, and it's like by the time they were done with Master, they'd pretty much done like every guitar riff you could do, you know, and now it's just a matter of reorganizing them.
And yet another 35 years went by.
That crazy scream.
Yeah, that sounded like James.
The bubblegum tasting Mountain Dew is gone.
Good. That tom fill there, excellent.
Yes, it's very simple, but yes.
Love a low guitar solo.
Yeah. Sounds like it's spread very wide. Probably had 2 microphones on it, then spread them wide. Okay.
A little bit narrower on this one. More up front, middle.
Pretty far in the background. Yeah. Love it. Ooh. There's the harmony.
Love when the double bass comes in.
Oh. Oh, give it to me.
That rhythm riff is so good.
I love it. Dude, the changing of the keys.
And then just seamless.
Yep.
Right back into it.
Yep. Yes, back into the verse. I love it. I don't remember them doing that, to be honest.
Yeah.
That was probably Cliff.
This song is so quintessentially metal.
Yeah.
Listen to that bass. Bomp. Now this riff here, this like,
Yep.
I would kill to get a brand new version of this with new
Yep.
tech. God, it would be huge.
Dude, into another verse? Let's go. Oh, he hasn't done Flash before, man. We got to do the chorus one more time. God, he's straining so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Such a happy chorus.
Happy chorus about death.
Death can be happy. Pretty sure this song fades out. If it doesn't, it's going to really surprise me. I'm not looking.
I don't think it does. No, it doesn't.
I'm not looking at how much time we have left, by the way, so I have no clue. Back to the intro riff.
Yep.
Nice.
And then that sweet, sweet delay at the very end that reminds me of when Mega Man dies.
Dude, I think I like Ride the Lightning, the song. Let's
that
go.
song rules, man. That's one of the most popular songs on this album.
Oh, sure, absolutely. I think that's crazy. I was pretty sure that was the song that faded out after doing the really cool solo stuff, but it must be probably,
I think it's probably Fade to Black.
whatever the next song is, yeah.
Which is really first.
I love that.
It says it right there in the title.
What? Fade to Black? You know what? Am I even allowed to get mad at it if it tells me in the song title?
I don't think you are. I think you got to take it down off the list.
We probably talked about that in the first video. So I think there's just something about ba-da-da, 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 that it just feels I don't like that riff. It's really weird.
I don't
thing
either.
to
It's
say.
a little rough.
Yeah, it just
jagged.
I don't think it's. I guess it's jagged feeling, not in the way they played it or anything. I think they played it fine.
No.
They played it perfectly. But
not
there's just
performance issue.
something about it. Yeah, the notes are too far apart, which sounds like the stupidest thing in the world, because so much metal is, like you chug on the like low string and then you noodle up here. Like that's just
the notes are all the way across the guitar every chance you get.
Just what metal is. But there's just something about bo-da-da, bo-da-da, bo-da-da. And this kind of is maybe a good time for me to bring this up. I was talking to Chris Schoenberg recently because he and his band are getting ready to release a new song pretty soon.
Oh, nice. Very good.
And it's about horses, ironically. Or at least I think maybe in a roundabout way. But anyway, he brought up something to me that I think is really interesting, and it made me think about it, this particular thing. When Chris Schoenberg and I used to work on music together back in the day, and he would bring me his metal songs, and I produced all four of his metal band's albums back in the day when he was
albums
in a band called Primal Waters, his metal band's albums. He would bring me his vocals and he would go in and he would do them, and I would be like, your rhythm is wrong. Like what you're doing doesn't sound good. It sounds jarring and jagged, and the way you're emphasizing the words is not correct. And so we would work really hard with trying to fix his vocal rhythms and what he was doing with his vocals. And we went through and we did, all four of those albums. I think they all sound great. I'm very proud of those albums. And Chris and I have worked on metal music. We've worked on pop music. We've worked on rap music. We've done all sorts of things over the last 20 years or whatever that we've been friends. And this year, going through and listening to Metallica, especially their first four albums.
It all makes sense.
It's the exact same thing. He was singing, he was doing what James does on these four albums. And also, the few times this year where I've mentioned that I do this multiple times, I tell Google to just like play 80s thrash music, and she'll play Carcass or Municipal Waste or Overkill or Overjoy or whatever that crazy, very fast band is. Like she'll play just different things. And every one of those songs, it's the same vocal cadences that Chris was trying to do that I kept telling him, no, this is wrong. I had no reference for that. And so to me, when I hear a lot of these vocal runs that James does, I'm just like, wow, what is this weird rhythm that he's doing? Well, so now I've come to find out it's punk vocals. It's punk vocal rhythms. It's vocal rhythms that are intentionally wonky because you don't want to necessarily conform to singing pop vocal rhythms. And so I don't necessarily think that James did that consciously. I think he was just doing, because that first Kill 'Em All album is very punky sounding, in my opinion.
Yeah, the new wave of British thrash metal is what they would always refer to as the thing that inspired them the most.
Sure, and I can absolutely see that. And I don't know that much about a lot of these things, but that's one of the revelations I've sort of had this year while we've been listening to Metallica, is that the vocal rhythms that Chris was doing back in the day that I told him were wrong, he was just basically straight up doing things that sounded like they could have fit on a Metallica album. And so,
do you regret that?
No.
Okay.
I don't think that they're good. Like, I don't want to say that his vocals are not good, but there's just this like sort of monotonous,
maybe you can't pull it off as well.
Rhythmic. Well, I don't think that James is a very good singer at this point. I'm talking about James, not Chris.
Oh, I see.
Like right now. And I don't mean right now. I mean like in this conversation now, I've switched over to talking about James.
Right.
I think that, they were still really young. They were doing stuff that they were like creating, helping to create thrash metal. And I think that a lot of their influences was punky. And I think that the vocal rhythms are like one of the things that I do not care for as much. Chris Schoenberg would say when we did these first few Metallica albums that it always sounded like when the verse first kicks in, it feels like the second line of the verse.
I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure I remember somebody saying every verse from a Metallica song sounds like the middle of a conversation.
Exactly. It feels like the verse has already been going and it's just the second line of the verse. That's how it feels.
That's interesting because I don't know how to see that as well.
I think the
somebody who doesn't
reason
write music.
for it is just that it's not super conventional in terms of any other genre of music. You know, but like I said, when the like few Carcass songs I've heard, the few Municipal Waste songs, and I'm sure those bands were all like Metallica's our greatest influence, so they're probably harkening back to this. But like it's the same exact thing. It's these same sort of like vocal rhythms. So if anyone in the comments knows more about what we're talking about, let me know. Like I know it's kind of like this is like a sort of an abstract thing because I'm not good enough at music theory to be like, well, all Metallica verses start in the middle of a measure rather than on the downbeat of one, or he starts low and goes high instead of starting high and going low, which is the standard for what jazz or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know those things, so I can't specifically look at it and be like, this is why it sounds weird to me. But it definitely sounds weird to me. So
Cool.
Yeah, so there you go. Do you have anything you wanted to say about this song? What's it about? Ride the Lightning.
It's kind of it's not about any one specific thing. It's more conceptual, just about basically, being in an electric chair, getting ready to be killed as somebody, in that position. But overall, it's just like this. These are the deranged, crazed thoughts of someone who's about to die, and it's just sort of like that's the overall concept.
Okay. I also want to shout out the very happy sounding chorus.
Yes, I love that
because it's going on. It's all heavy, and then flash before my eyes. Ba, da, da, da. It just feels all like happy. This
is the kind of thing
which is cool
that you should probably put Christmas bells in somewhere.
There you go. Yep. We did that
now,
on an episode of Music Room.
On to what I think is probably my second. Oh boy, I'm trying to decide which of like what order of favorite is in this album for me.
Okay.
I want to. This song is in my top 5 for the album. I'm not sure where yet.
Okay.
But because we still have to do Fade to Black and Creeping Death, and those are both way up there.
You know, the Creeping Death is a song that just comes up consistently when I see Metallica stuff online. Like, Creeping Death just comes up all over the place, whether I see people reacting to it or people mentioning it in comments. Like, they'll be talking about, my favorite Metallica songs, blah, 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 Creeping Death. Like, Creeping Death is always there. I have to say, I do not remember a millisecond of it from the first time we heard it. So, all right.
Get to react to it again.
I think I will know this song, though, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Undertaker.
This is one of my favorites. I think this is definitely one of the best songs on the album, for sure.
Okay. All right. For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica in 3, 2, 1. Classic, right? Now, is this part done on the bass?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, this is bass.
Okay. Again, it's that load reload drum beat.
Yeah. Marching.
Yes. Just thudding slow. But marching, yes, it's definitely less laid back.
And this bass line is so good. And I love the way that this leads into everybody doing it. There are few things in metal better than all instruments doing the same thing. Just a wall of
right? Oh yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Do you think they knew when they were writing this? They were like, we got it. This is it.
I wonder that all the time. All the time.
Very long intro.
Yes. And you don't even care.
It is pretty cool. I feel like there's so many opportunities for them to do the like stop the drums, ba-da, ba-da, like they would definitely do that later in their career, but here he's just kind of keeping it going. Oh, interesting. This is back to the meaning of life. Right?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Both Wolf and Man.
Yes. Vocals are more present, I feel.
I love the delay on that.
Yep.
The space. Cat.
Back to the meaning. That delay.
Wow.
I think that was double tracked. The high part. Ooh, harmony in there now.
They always
Cool.
stop there live. Let that
Okay.
ring out forever.
Okay. I like the length of these verses. They feel longer.
The whole song is just like stretched out.
It was like a 3-part verse, really. Ooh.
That horror, guitar horror.
Unless that's Cliff. A lot of people said all this crazy stuff is Cliff. But I don't know what they do live. I mean, it sounds like a guitar with the whammy bar.
Yeah, doing bends and stuff.
The panning is interesting. And it's going on for quite a while. I feel like a full 8 bars.
Oh,
of it.
this is
Wait, is this
one of the worst fade outs.
Boo.
Boo hiss. I hate the fade. It's so bad.
Yeah, that's
Boo
a bad
hiss on
one.
that fade. That's like egregious.
So they don't really have a guitar solo in that song.
Uh-uh.
That's interesting.
To think of how that, especially with the way that that song ends, like, it's just dum bum bum bum. Like, you could just not play the next note. It would be the end of the song.
So how do they do that live then?
Good question. I have to go back and look. I know that they stop, or, I mean, maybe they just lead it into another song, but I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
they,
you know
they
what?
end
They
it.
could do that. Just have a little bit of a wait and then boom right into the next song.
Yeah.
Which could even be Fade to Black, which I think is the next song on here.
It doesn't. It wouldn't translate. Fade to Black starts really slow.
Oh,
Really
okay,
soft.
okay. Like I said, the chorus in that song really felt like back to the meaning of life. Which song is that? Is that Of Wolf and Man?
That's a Wolf and Man from Black Album.
Yeah.
And there's also Back to the Front, Damage Inc. from Master of Puppets. A little bit, not quite the same, but I actually had a really interesting thought while we were listening to that.
Okay.
James Hetfield really only writes songs about maybe like 3 things.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
You've got war and
drugs.
weird creatures like Ktulu and stuff
Oh,
like
sure.
that.
Yep. The fantasy
And
stuff.
drugs.
And drugs.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was going to say, like, we should categorize them and be like, which Metallica song about war is their best?
Ah, okay. Interesting. That's
Because then you'll probably get like 5, 6, 7 entries per category.
yeah. That's tough. I
And
can't-
it's not a complaint; it's just an observation.
Sure. I want to take this moment to read what it said on the sticker on the front of this album. And again, I just took this off. It says remastered for the first time, which is probably a lie if you heard a remaster from 2008.
And you know, I looked that up earlier, and that first remaster of this album came out in '95. So that must
That might have been the first
first
time they put it on a CD, I would guess. So maybe it was just
Probably, yeah.
remastered for CD or something rather
That's
than
a good point.
fully
Yeah.
remastered. Okay, so this is remastered for first time, the #1 thrash metal album of all time.
Bold.
That was by Decibel Magazine. Okay. Then it says
Well, somebody had to say it.
Featuring for who? Can you tell me the 3 songs that it's featuring?
For Whom the Bell Tolls, Ride the Lightning, Creeping Death.
Nope. Featuring For Whom the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, Creeping Death.
Oh, okay.
So Ride the
That's
Lightning
fair.
is not on there, not considered.
I was going to say, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they need to list featuring the song that is the title of the album.
Right. This is the self-titled, yeah.
I'm glad it didn't say Escape, because Escape's a piece of shit song, and we'll get to that when it comes up.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah, that's probably the one that I liked the most that Chris got really mad at me for.
We'll see. That'd be really funny if that was true.
There was one that I liked a lot, and he was like, "You would like this. You would do that." Because it was like such a different thing. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll get there. I love that. Even though it fades out in a really bad way, like really egregiously bad way, it would have been nice for them to just go back to Whom the Bell Tolls and then go back. You know, they could have just done the riffs from the beginning of the song kind of in reverse order and then end it with just the bell toll, you know?
God, that would have been great. Yeah.
So I don't know, that's kind of a bummer. But I wonder if they thought that this was going to be the single from the album and they wanted it at a specific time. Like they wanted it to be a certain length. It's 5 minutes and 10 seconds on the album.
I would love to talk to any band who does fade outs and ask them why. I just want to ask them, just like, can you tell me why you faded this song out?
Preaching to the choir, man.
Microphone.
Yeah.
There's just not going to be a good answer.
You're
Fade to Black might be the only one that has a good answer.
Right. Fade to fade. Right. For sure. But you're right. Like the intro of that song is so epic. It goes on forever. And you, like what you said is true. Like it doesn't bother me that it's so long because every part feels just as iconic as the part before. You know, that's really only, I believe, maybe the 3rd or 4th time ever in my life I've actually heard that song. And I think it's only the 2nd time I've ever actually paid attention to it because the first time was when we did it here on the channel. And like, I know those parts just from WWE and other things, pop culture things using them. But like, it's just classic. And each part is so classic. And I love that you pointed out that the bass guitar is doing the riff for a while and the guitars are just like doing they're like Metallica doesn't do that very often. We've learned throughout the rest of their career where they just like let the guitars ring while the drums and the bass are doing something and they're holding more notes out. They don't do that very often. And so then that's why it feels so extra special when it comes in, like you said, and they're all doing the riff and it's just,
I love that.
It's just dun, 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 like it's
just
heavy.
Build up to it and here, you've got it timed and like, here it comes 3, 2. I mean, oh yeah.
Definitely. Would you agree with me that that's the heaviest moment of the album so far that we've heard?
So far, yes.
That's definitely the heaviest in my opinion. And I think that they're just palm muting one string, just the low E string or whatever. If they detuned that song, I don't know. It felt a little bit more aggressive, and that's what we talked about with Chris. Like, can you have heavy sounding, fast, aggressive music? And I don't know,
But slow is the thing that makes it the heaviest.
Right, exactly. And that's the we don't need to have a long conversation about that now, but like, what's the difference between aggressive, heavy, extreme, those types of things. So I really like that song.
Things cannot be fast and plodding.
I think, like we said, the verses feel a little bit long in that song, but that's okay. There really isn't a chorus. It's more of a refrain when he just goes, "For whom the bell tolls," right? There's no line with that.
Is the difference?
Well, to me,
time marches on.
Oh, you're right. You're correct. He says, "For whom the bell tolls, time marches on, for whom the bell tolls." Okay, so I guess that is kind of a chorus. A refrain.
I learned something about this album actually while we were listening to it. It is about it's based on the 1940 novel of the same name by Ernest Hemingway. I did not know.
Oh, interesting.
That's what that was. Yeah.
I wonder if Metallica fans like collect original copies of that book. If that's like a book that's hot on the book market.
I would never do that.
I know,
but maybe some people do.
You're not like a physical person. Like you're not like a collect physical things person.
I can be, but you're right.
I am a collect physical things person. Yes. And I know you appreciate a good piece of swag and stuff, but yeah, that's interesting. Didn't know that. And I don't know that much about Ernest Hemingway, so I can't really comment on that.
Me neither. Apparently it's about really cool. The novel is set during the Spanish Civil War and explores themes of death, sacrifice, and the brutality of war.
Well, there you go.
So
that's Metallica.
That all lines up.
That's Metallica to a T.
More war.
Love it. All right, I'm curious to see if we get to a part in the album where we think it's heavier than that. I'm really curious.
I know one, but I'll let you get to it.
Okay. All right, Fade to Black. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is not the longest song on the album. Unfortunately, the longest song on the album is the dumb instrumental at the end, but we'll get there when we get there. This is almost 7 minutes long, so we're approaching the stereotypical Metallica 7-minute long song. Fade to Black in 3, 2, 1. Okay, you're right. This is fading in. Ooh.
This was the first thing I learned how to play on guitar.
Interesting. Okay. Definitely double tracked and spread wide. I love that guitar tone. In the middle, the electric guitar tone here. Do they do this song with the symphony?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm excited for that. Yes. I love this guitar tone. Chris Schoenberg had a guitar tone similar to this that we used on all of his solos on one of the Primal Waters albums, and I loved it.
Nice.
I don't know I don't know the technical what it is about it, but oh, there's the spanky acoustic guitars. Yuck.
Spanky?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
They're like hitting the guitars so hard it sounds like they're spanking the strings.
Oh, I see.
Why are you so mad at the strings, bro?
I think it just sounds really nice.
That's one of the things that made me mad about their first few albums. Like, they refused to play things quietly or gently ever. Which is why I was shocked when I heard that kick drum at the beginning of Fight Fire with Fire. Okay, this is great though. We're already 1.5 minutes into the song.
And that is the fastest 1.5 minutes of all time.
Very fast. First time we've heard him actually like trying to sing, I believe. Sing. Doubles vocals, which is someone who's not confident in their vocals will double track them. People will say it's to make them thicker. It's not. It's they're not satisfied with their vocal take, so they double them to hide the imperfections. See, now here the guitar sounds more prominent in the middle, the main riff, which is interesting.
Bum, bum, bum.
A lot of triplets on the da-da-dum,
oh
da-da-dum. Yeah, on
Very
the
true.
toms, drum fills. Ooh, going back to the acoustic guitars. Yes, please. This is like the first time I've heard this. I don't remember this at all.
Good.
Which is terrible.
It is terrible. You're terrible.
I am.
This is one of my favorite songs of all time.
I love that turnaround. Bum, bum, bum. It sounds like a piano in there. I swear we said that last time.
Love the way he says agony.
Oh, I'm just listening to the music. I haven't heard any words. They're so far in the back.
They are a little quiet.
Especially compared to the previous song. There is not one single moment so far where he grabs the cymbal to stop it. That's a Master of Puppets thing, huh?
That's a very large thing. You're right.
But did he start that on Master?
Good question.
I haven't heard it so
We'll have
far.
to keep listening for that.
Yeah.
The way the song transitions here in a sec is...
Ooh. Ooh. This sounds sonically very different from the rest of the songs on the album so far. I wonder if this was the first one they did. I don't think it sounds as good. The guitars definitely are not as balanced, like left and right at all. They're mostly in the middle.
Yeah, true. Except for the acoustics.
Maybe. His vocals are just really too far back.
They are. Love that goodbye in the way back.
Okay.
Oh, this is so good.
See, now they're spread wide. You're right. I think it was a specific conscious thing because of the acoustic guitars.
And there's a solo coming.
Okay.
This is very Pink Floyd.
Okay. I really like the solo so far. Ooh. Pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter. That's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like. It sounds like pitter patter, pitter patter. I love this solo. Very bluesy. Yeah. This might be my favorite guitar solo, one of my favorite Metallica guitar solos. I love this. I love everything that they're doing. He's doing. Ah, okay.
However,
this is what I was talking about. Yes.
Yep, I knew it was.
Okay,
When you
okay.
said that, you're like this amazing guitar solo that just keeps going and then it fades out.
I absolutely.
I have an interesting theory.
Okay.
I have brand new. You heard it here first. Brand new theory about this.
No one's ever thought this ever.
Nope. This song is about suicide. Very much clearly is the case. And I guess it's mostly about depression, but yesterday seems as though it never existed. Now I will I'll just say goodbye, and then goodbye, and he fades out into the back, and just I think it's pretty clear this guy in the song kills himself. And I think obviously that's going to be the name of the song. And I think that's part of why it fades out, but I also think that they do it with the solo involved because it is a symbolism of a life cut short. That's what I think.
Okay, that's an interesting interpretation, I'm sure. Sure. I don't know. I mean, for me, symbolic stuff like that doesn't normally fly very well in terms of my personal taste.
I agree.
So I think that while that's interesting, I do still think that the song it's a very big disservice to my overall enjoyment of the song to do that. Now, the fact that it's called Fade to Black is really interesting. Just because that's like you said, they're telling you right away, and the song's about suicide, it's about death and stuff, which is interesting. So that does all kind of play a part in it.
And I think one of the reasons that this one feels especially savage because it is such an awesome solo, and I do think that that's part of it. Why would you fade a song out mid solo?
I just honestly I think I've tried to listen to that song maybe multiple times since we've done the recording, and that's why I keep getting frustrated when I go to that song. But I think that might be my favorite Metallica solo.
That is a perfectly reasonable thing
of any
to say.
of their solos, but I can't say that because it fades out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not my favorite solo. It just he's basically doing what he's been doing in all of his solos on the most recent albums, where he's doing the more bluesy riffs and stuff. Except those are all more improvised. Whereas, and a lot of people in the comments of our Death Magnetic and all those videos were talking about how they don't like, and I think even 72 Seasons, as people mentioned it a lot as well, they don't like when Kirk just tries to improvise the solos more and not necessarily sit down and write them. They like when Kirk sits down and writes them. This to me felt like he sat down and wrote the type of guitar solo that I like that he does on the modern albums. But it was also pretty fast. So I think maybe he's going a little bit more gung-ho with it than he would on a more modern album. But
he does play it the same way every time, though.
That's awesome. I love that's another. I'm sure he probably does that with all of his guitar solos. Or do you think he improvises some on live?
I don't know. Everything that I've ever heard live, the guitar solo is 90 to 95 to 100% the same. Like
I'm sure it would have to be.
Written,
I think because
it's also iconic.
I was going to say they're so famous that I'm sure there's people who are like waiting for the solos, and then they like look at him playing the guitar and like memorize. They have every note memorized, So like
exactly.
It's on him to play the solos. So like, but I don't know. I love it. I love every part of the solo. I love it. Your idea that it's about sort of slipping away or whatever, because you could almost go into like, how did he commit suicide? Like, was it a slow death, like by gassing yourself or something almost? I don't know if it says.
Yeah, sleep in the car.
But if that's the case, then it would be kind of a more fading out thing rather than like, hanging yourself and breaking your neck instantly or something like that. So
that would be interesting though, as a counter to this, if there was a song about that and it was like specifically about hanging, and then the song just like mid phrase, mid note was just like, and that was the end of the song.
I know a song like that. It's not about a hanging, but it's one of my favorite instances of music being sort of like art like that. It's from, and I've always wanted to bring it up, and I wanted to have it feature on an episode of Music Room, but we never got to anything where I could use it. But it's a song called 30K Feet, and it's about, it's by Assemblage 23, which is one of my favorite electronic groups, electronic acts. And it's called 30K Feet, which stands in this case for the song 30,000 Feet. And it's about a guy who's on a plane that's going to crash. And each verse is him calling a loved one, telling them goodbye. And halfway through the third verse, it just goes.
That's fantastic.
And stops.
That is fantastic.
It builds so well. And every verse, there's no chorus. It's just music, verse 1, the same music adding elements. Verse 2, the same elements the same music adding even more elements. And then I think it's verse 3, and then these lush strings and everything come in, and it's just gorgeous and beautiful, and it's building. And then the fourth verse starts, and then it's just, and that's the way the album ends. The album is over right at that moment.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
That's good stuff.
All right, Trapped Under Ice. This is, for some reason, is one that I remember. I don't remember what the song is or sounds like or anything, but the song, the Trapped Under Ice, is really like cool imagery to me.
It's a hard 180 from the last song.
Okay, I'm just going to say, it's only 4 minutes long, so I'm guessing it's another sort of fast, thrashy one. So let's get to it. Are you ready?
Yep.
Trapped Under Ice. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Guitars sound way more crispy. Kick drum sounds way less definition. You know what? They're starting this song off with a solo to rectify what they did previous track.
Yes.
That bass.
That solo there has load all over it.
Okay.
That was a King Nothing solo.
Interesting. Now we've already had 2 shredding fast solo parts, so what are we going to do for the bridge? Are they going to slow it down?
Yes. groove it up a bit.
Okay. See, this makes so much sense contextually. Ooh. Love it. Yes. Verse 3, baby.
Packing a lot in 4 minutes.
So this is someone that was thrown in the ice. Ooh, that's with little flange on there. Little chorusing effect. Yeah.
In and out.
Yo, dog. I love that.
That song rules, man.
I will say I don't care for the chorus as much. That's much more of like a punky chorus. Freezing! Can't move at all.
Yeah, definitely
Screaming!
like their thrashier stuff. Like you see a 4 minute song and you're like, okay, so this is definitely one of their sort of, the British thrash stuff that they were inspired by is still lingering into this part of the album.
Yeah. Yep. Now I noticed I wasn't paying attention to the lyrics ever really, but I noticed in the last verse there, wrapped up tight, cannot move, can't break free. Oh, a hand of doom has a grip on me, so that means he's about to die. But I was thinking maybe he was thrown into the water.
According to the thing that I've got here, it's like that this is not about any particular narrative. It's much more conceptual, just about feeling trapped. And it's like just a reflection, projection of that feeling over and over.
Okay, so it's not like meant to be taken literally or anything. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, again, that right away when that first started, I noticed very inconsistent with the way the guitars have sounded the whole song or the whole album. But then I feel like the more the song went on, it kind of settled into the way the other songs have sounded in terms of the kick drum, the snare, and the guitars. So I wonder if maybe it was just the intro of that song for whatever reason felt different to me. I'd have to go back and listen, and I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that I liked the way that song was mixed. I think the vocals were definitely louder than they have been, especially on, I think the vocals were egregiously low on Fade to Black. Yeah, which is that the song?
I agree, and I do wonder, based on what you were saying about a confidence issue, that is really the first time that he is like, I'm gonna sing this song. 100%. And I wonder if that's part of it.
100%. I bet it is 100%. And I'm sure they were sitting there arguing about, how loud to make it and everything. So, all right, we're on to Escape now. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go into it. This is Escape in 3, 2, 1. Yeah! That groove. Is this the one with the really catchy chorus?
Maybe, yeah.
Long verses here as I look at the words, at the lyrics. Da 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 da. Much more straightforward verse, rhythmically. There's like twice as many words here as he normally uses. Syllables. Yes!
In this chorus.
Oh, yeah! Love it. This is definitely my favorite song on the album.
And
I don't know.
I guarantee this is what you said last time, and Chris said that you would like this.
This is the first chorus we've encountered where you're like, let's sing along with it, baby. Let's be riding in the car and pump this one. Da 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 da. I will say the guitars are much more focused in the middle for the verses here. Again. Vocals nice and loud. Dude, I love this. There's like a lot of vocal overdubbing in there. And he's singing, the harmonies of the vocals are what the guitar is doing.
Yeah, that's very Aussie.
Yes, yeah. Whoa. You think that's the same bell from Who the Bell Tolls, but pitch shifted? Don't tell me that's Cliff Burton on the bass.
The bell?
Yeah. He can make his bass sound like a bell. I mean, it's just a much more simple riff, you know?
Yeah.
Simple guitar solo so far, too.
I like the tone.
Yeah, a lot of delay on it. Ooh.
It is very 80s. It's like very glam rock.
Yeah, and I could see them wanting to try something like that. Imagine if this song had exploded in popularity and been like their biggest hit.
Oh, this one.
This song's gonna fade out, though, and really piss me off, ain't it? It's a million times gonna fade out, you son of a... I want that chorus another big time, a big chorus. Damn it! And they've probably never done this one live, huh?
I don't know. Probably not. There's a reason.
Well, that just doesn't sound like a Metallica song, really.
There's a reason for that, too. And it's all the same reason.
Especially for this time period of the band. I love that.
Metallica has expressed their dissatisfaction with the song Escape on multiple occasions, and they have mentioned that they felt pressured by their record label to include it on the album Ride the Lightning. In interviews and documentaries, the band members have mentioned that they wrote the song because they were told by their record label, Megaforce Records, that the album needed a more radio-friendly track.
Yet the radio refused to ever play it, I guess, right?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Dude, there you go. That says it all.
Yep. That says it all. It says everything about why you like it the most, why it's the worst, all kinds of things.
Yep. The fact that one fades out is really a big bummer to me. So, yeah. But if we dissect it a tiny bit, it's much more simple. It's like a guitar riff I could play, which is not good. And, the guitar solo is not even that crazy, so there's not a lot of music theory necessarily going in there. Not that there was, or that there has to be a lot of music theory in order to make something good or fast or whatever.
Right.
But, it definitely was a much more simple, straightforward song. Personally, I like the fact when you can sing along with choruses. Like, I like that.
Right.
And I'm not ashamed to say that, like, that's one of the reasons I like pop music and stuff is like I want to sing along with the song at certain points.
I completely agree. I do. I agree for a lot of reasons, and I will admit I am being unnecessarily hard on that song because it is still a Metallica song, and so it is not without merit. You know, there's plenty of stuff in there that's good. It's just like, this sounds a lot different than the rest of the album, and then you find out that it was a force sort of by the label to get something more radio friendly, and it's like, this really kind of goes against what they were doing at the time, and I can see why they're bent out of shape about it, and I can see why it sounds the way that it does. And it's just not the kind of thing anybody wants to hear about something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a bummer when you hear a band talking about them hating something for a reason other than the fact that it got so popular they grew to hate it. I feel like that's like a good legitimate reason, you know?
And it's weird because, I don't know, like, I feel like everybody who's in a band would love, either out loud or secretly, to become a famous band. And at no point in being a famous band are you surprised that you have to play your biggest song over and over for the rest of your life.
Right.
So hating it is kind of it's weird because I feel like a lot of times when they hate their songs, it's like, I just wrote this on a napkin 5 minutes before a show on the bus, and then it's like the most popular thing ever. Like that, I feel like it's something that makes them hate their songs more than the fact that they play them over.
Oh, see, I disagree. I think it's the fact that that can be the case. Like, you're right. Like, sometimes a lot of famous songs are bands' biggest songs, like Blur, for example, with song 2, right? Woohoo! Like, they wrote that song in like 3 hours, recorded the entire thing as a joke to show their record label executive to scare him that's what they were doing. And he loved it so much, he made them put it on the album and it became their biggest hit.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, I could absolutely legitimately see a situation where a band like, I think where the dislike of certain songs, like big songs from bands, comes from is jaded fans, or you feel jaded because of the fans, right? Like when you go to a show, like to me, I always think of like when I had the misfortune of seeing Korn live, and the whole crowd, the whole time, all they were doing was sitting, like waiting, like vibrating, so that they could shout the swear words in the big Korn songs, right? That's all they were doing the whole time. And the thing is, Korn's standing up there going, okay, we've released 7 albums since Issues, right? Do none of you care about any of that at all? Like, did any of you even bother to listen to it? Because we can't. No, I mean, like Korn, when I saw Korn play, they had just released, I think it was Untouchables, which I think is a great album. And they only played one song from that, and it was Twisted Transistor. They didn't even play their, like, We Will Rock You song. That was, like, their biggest song they ever had, where they used the We Will Rock You beat in it, which, whatever. But, like, all they did was play basically their greatest hits, because that's all the crowd wanted to hear. And I could absolutely see if you're in a band and you're just like, really? This is all you guys want to hear are the hits? Like, we have so many other songs out there that we put all this effort in to. We just released a new album, and all you want us to do is play Twist and Falling Away from
I've never been to a show where everybody at the show didn't want the band to play every song they've ever had.
Oh, see, I just, like, think about, like, Aerosmith when they do a show.
Right.
Do you think that they even bother to play anything from the last 30 years?
Well, and that's an interesting problem, because I think bands...
Now, if I was... Okay, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I think bands that have been around that long, like, people talk... This is something I think about a lot, where people talk about, oh, you know, the best era for music was whatever. And then it's like, oh, go listen to a 70s radio station, and it's just hit after hit. And it's like, yeah, because every single piece of shit that existed between all those hits has been flushed.
Exactly. Go listen to Casey Kasem's top 40 from that year, and you won't know. You only know 2 songs on the whole 40 list.
Exactly. And so it's like, I feel like bands can get trapped in a situation where the way that their songs have made it through time is like, you go to an Aerosmith show, how many people there have been a fan since 1972?
Right.
Like,
and how many of those people have heard any of their music since 1990?
Right, exactly.
Probably none. And that's the thing.
Yeah, and so it's like, how do you,
to me,
especially once you're 10 albums deep as a band, like, how do you make a set list that pleases everyone?
Well, the thing is, you just don't include anything. That's to me where the jadedness would come in. You know, like if you spend all your effort as a band creating these songs that you think are just as good as any other song you ever had, and after a certain point in your career, just nobody ever cares. And I'm not saying that, I mean, that's a blanket statement, but it seems to be true for certain genres and certain bands. You know, when Journey plays live, they have to just play their greatest hits and probably nothing from, again, the last 30 years.
Right.
There are certain bands who have stayed consistent and relevant, like Metallica. You know, I'm sure there are people who are really excited to hear Lux Eterna and to hear any of the songs off of their new 72 Seasons, you know.
Yeah.
But there's also people who are excited to hear something from a treat from Death Magnetic, and who are excited to hear. And the thing about that, though, too, is like, if you think about it, Metallica's really only had like maybe 2 or 3 like humongous hits.
Yeah.
Right? And Enter Sandman, Sad But True, I would say, and
The Unforgiven.
Yeah, but I think
Wherever I May Roam.
I think Nothing Else Matters was bigger than Unforgiven.
No, you're right. Nothing Else Matters. What? Well,
I mean, I would say they're 3
these are the songs, like, if you listen to Z92, for example, you will hear 60% of the Black Album most of the time.
Right.
You will hear Sandman, Sad But True, Unforgiven, Nothing Else Matters, and maybe one other
Wherever
one
I May Roam, maybe.
Yeah, that one for sure.
Yeah.
So it's like,
But like,
you know,
what other
most of
Metallica
that
song
album,
would be on the radio from any of their albums?
Until It Sleeps from Load gets radio play a lot. Fuel from Reload gets radio play a lot. King Nothing is on all the time.
You're lying, and none of those are. I'm just kidding.
What are you
I'm just kidding. Okay. I can see King Nothing definitely being on there, but like
King Nothing gets a lot of play.
And I could see even someone playing Master of Puppets, you know, for that bathroom time,
Puppets
take a
gets
time
lots
to
of
take
play.
a potty break. But my point still stands, though. Like, you know, like, they really have only had the Black Album as like their like massive, and so all the other songs feel like special songs probably when they play them live, you know. And they're also the kind of band who doesn't give a crap about what their singles ever were, and I'm sure that they have gone whole years without playing Sad But True, or what, maybe not Sad But True, but like, if they didn't want to play Enter Sandman, probably not Enter Sandman, but if they didn't want to play one of their big songs, like, they wouldn't do it, you know.
Right.
So,
and they've got plenty of other songs. It's so easy. It's like, we don't want to play Battery. I mean, that would.
right.
I think if they didn't play Battery, people would leave with heads and, you know, forks in their hands. But
Right.
I think that, you know, they can get away with saying, we don't want to play this song, but our set list, you know, we've got so many songs that, you know, we just, sometimes you can't get them all on there, and it's just, you know. You got to see Metallica live, so what are you going to do, complain about it?
Exactly. And so, I don't know. I think it's a little different based on whatever. But anyway, that was a good conversation, I think. All
Onward.
right. Now we're up to Creeping Death. And this is the one that people just mentioned so much.
This is the one that I think has the heaviest part of the album on it.
Oh, okay. I'm very curious. Is this your favorite song from the album, then? Or do you want to wait till we're done and you can give us your top 5?
Let's wait. This will be the last. I mean, Call of Cthulhu is not going to be on my
and
list.
I'll order mine top 5 as well, then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Creeping Death. You ready? Mm-hmm. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, wow. We're starting right away. Okay. I don't remember the chorus or anything from this.
Good.
Guitars spread nice and wide. Oh, yeah.
They would stop right there when they're live, too. It's awesome. I've never heard that before.
Guitars sound nice and crispy here. Kind of like they did at the beginning of Trapped Under Ice, but I still like the kick here. Vocals nice and loud.
The song is about Passover.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
The most metal thing of all time.
That makes sense. I don't like this chorus. It just feels like another verse, kind of.
There's some weird sounds in this album, in this song.
Okay. I wish the solo was louder.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a pretty cool part. Do it again and harmonize it? Nope.
Here it comes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is so good.
Whoa. Whoa. That was very different.
Yeah. That section of this song is worth this whole album.
Huh. I really like that catchy vocal part, which is nice. First like catchy vocal part we've had this song. Whoa. That's cool.
Like I was just speaking, yeah.
Yeah. Very epic here. Okay. That
When they do that song live and everybody is just shouting "die" over and over through that section,
okay.
It is so good.
Back to my corn thing. That is really interesting because to me, we've encountered for the first time what Metallica becomes later on, which is just riffs, basically riffs. And this song had a structure, you know, it was verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge. I don't know, remember if there's a verse, but chorus and outro. The solo was nice. I thought it was a little low, but there's just something about that. The chorus to me is disappointing because it just feels like another verse. It doesn't feel like the chorus part to me. That's a very punky thing, you know?
I see.
And that's where I think, you know, like, I don't know. I'm going to say I think that song to me doesn't live up to any sort of like expectations I had of it. That would definitely not be like in my top. Like that would be a song I would forget that immediately as soon as I'm done listening to this. Like I will not think about that song again. And for the amount of people that bring that up as like one of their favorites,
I love that song.
I'm really curious as to why.
Contender.
I know you said you love that part in the middle.
That part in the middle is everything for me. Like the song is fine. The bookend, you know, everything else around that song is, you know, fine, catchy, interesting. It's not, you know, there are plenty of other songs that I like better than every other part of Creeping Death, but that middle section, man, every song on earth should sound like that. Like that is the perfect example.
I mean, I wish they would have just made that the chorus and done that twice. Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe once at the beginning and then once again at the end.
I like it. It works so well as a one-off because it's like solo and then it just builds up to this thing and you don't know what's coming. And then they just like, you expect it to refrain back to the beginning, the main riff of the song. And then it just dives deep into this hell. And then like, it's just, man, it's so good.
And just the way he goes, I creep across the land or whatever, like that's the first part in the song where he's actually like singing a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, everything else is just this sort of like shouty, punky sort of vocal thing that he's been doing.
That's true.
And so that I like the way that part of the song sounded. I thought that was really cool. And obviously the die part or whatever is really neat. I'm sure that was probably pretty influential moving forward.
That's a really interesting thing about that song is that it has that I never considered the punky vocal bit that you're talking about. And it is this really strange because that song also sounds like something that could be on Puppets with almost no change.
Right. Or like Death Magnetic.
Yeah. But at the same time, it has those thrashy roots of the punky vocal style that is on some of the stuff from like it. This has a weird hybridization of Kill 'Em All and Master Puppets and sort of like this, you know, the future and the past combined into one place.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I just think that like, that's such a cool source to get lyrics from, to just tell the story of Passover.
It is pretty cool.
Super metal way.
Yeah, man. For sure. It is a
genius move.
It is super metal. Shall we try to get through Call of Cthulhu?
Sure.
All right.
They open... The symphony show opens with this, and it's very nice.
Oh, interesting. I'm really curious. All right, so I'm going to really pay attention to this.
Okay.
We can talk a little bit as we're going through, but we'll just kind of see what happens. All right, are you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. I'm going to try to put my prog metal hat on. I don't have any hats. I mean, I have a ton over in the other room, but...
I think headphones, the fact that they go over the top of your head, count as a hat.
And they definitely...
If there was a prog metal hat ever, it was going to be headphones. Bum, bum.
That's pretty.
I like that a lot. I love the low notes. Bum, 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 bum.
Ooh.
I love how spooky it is.
Why'd you get so much louder? You got really loud.
Me?
Yeah.
Nothing changed. I don't know.
Wow.
Bass here's cool.
You're totally frozen too, your video. All right, there we go. Whoa. Okay, these are all. I'm sure
Bass.
all these notes are bass. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yep. The bass is the hidden, like, gem of this song.
Okay.
I'd say.
Okay. It says in the booklet, lead bass by Cliff Burton. The whole thing has a bit of a swing feel to it, right? It's not just bum, 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 bum. Which is a bit more swing time.
Metallica, another reactor I watch calls it Metallica's Gallop.
Oh, okay. So far, to me, this is all boring.
Sure.
'Cause it's basically the same thing. But at least they don't have someone... Like, this totally feels like something someone could talk over, right?
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
misty mountains, the dwarves waged war upon each other. You know. But we're not listening to Led Zeppelin. Thank God.
I won't argue with you on that.
Okay. Key change, I believe. Or at least going down an octave on the guitar.
More ride.
Yep. Was that... I swear I just heard someone go, ugh. That might have been... Was that you? Did you do that? Maybe not.
I'll have to listen.
It's lost me. Completely. It's completely lost me. I just want to turn it off. It's so boring. I hate it.
Really a lot of ride on this.
Yeah. It's almost like they told you in the title of the album.
Yep, that's true.
It's not hi-hat the lightning. It's not crash the lightning.
Crash the Lightning would be pretty
Crash
sick.
the lightning.
My favorite PlayStation character.
We could create a Metallica cover band, Crash the Lightning. Every song is just a cover done using only different symbols.
And we all dress like Crash Bandicoot.
I'm here for it. Or the Crash Test Dummies.
Ha!
Okay, we have something different rhythmically here. Back at the beginning. This reminds me of the beginning of For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yep.
I wonder if they're doing that on purpose, referencing stuff from earlier in the album.
I wondered about that just now, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, what was that? Probably like maybe up at the top of the neck, like pink.
Or with the bass, maybe.
Oh yeah, a little acoustic. What an interesting thing to play 3 notes of acoustic guitar.
I could see how this would be perfect for starting the Symphony of Metallica. Is that it?
That's it.
Thank God. I hate that. I hate it.
I know.
I hate it. It's just so... Okay. Let's remove that from the playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this album is 47 minutes long, right? Let's remove that, and you have a 38-minute album. Why not write 2 more songs, put them on here, have a 9-track album, and then I would be like, good job, Metallica, you did a good job. Instead, I feel like they wrote the first 3/4 of an album and then wasted my time with Call of Cthulhu. See now, because of that, I don't feel positive about this album as a whole. Like, that totally threw off my, because this whole time I've been thinking I like this a lot more than I thought I would, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you take into consideration the 2 egregious fade outs, the really bad fade outs. One that's, I guess, supposed maybe a little bit excusable, and then the Escape song, which I'm bummed because I like it, but they don't like it that much. Whatever, that song, you can take or leave. But then Fade to Black is egregious, fading out, and the other song that fades out is For Whom the Bell Tolls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 things really upset me, and then you have the ridiculously low vocal volume on Fade to Black, which to me makes that song probably disappointing throughout. I like the riffing on the album. I like the guitar soloing a lot now that I'm paying attention to it. But I just, to me, the songs that stand out on this are Fight Fire with Fire, Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls. That's it.
Not even Trapped Under Ice?
No, I like Trapped Under Ice, and it would be my 4th favorite song of those 3, I think. But Escape, to me, actually, I like Escape. I like Escape more than Trapped Under Ice, and I probably like it more than. Well, okay, so here I'll just tell you. I think my favorite song from this album is. Oh, that's tough. It's either Fight Fire. No, it's not. It's Ride the Lightning.
Nice.
Ride the Lightning is my favorite song from this album. And then I think I would say Fight Fire with Fire, Escape, For Whom the Bell Tolls. And then after that, it would have to be Trapped Under Ice. And then after that, I don't really even care that much anymore, which I do feel bad about Creeping Death there, but it doesn't stand out to me as being special in any way.
That's fine.
So yeah, that's kind of a bummer. I understand a lot of people really like that song, but to me personally, it doesn't stand out. So
I've got Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, and Creeping Death. And Not necessarily in that order,
Okay.
but
you do really like Ride the Lightning as this. As
I
a
do,
song.
yeah. The only thing about Ride the Lightning I don't really care for is that opening riff. It's just a little bit chunky, but otherwise it's a great song.
And it's really only like the first like few measures and then the last few measures.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm sure
I don't think it sullies it. And it does, if anything, it does make it very unique.
And it probably I'm sure if we thought about it, we could BS our way. Sorry, I'm fighting coughing, and this helps me.
I understand.
If anything, we could probably BS our way into like, oh, that song's about the guy who's going to be, right with the chair or whatever, electrocuted.
Yeah.
So that riff is what symbolizes the fear that comes with it, and then the rest of the song is about being, whatever, and then the fear comes back at the end, or not being afraid.
It is so unique that it does feel like there could be
some kind of a specific reason.
Symbolistic, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I like the fact, again, this is so stupid and it's such a me thing, but like I like the fact that it ends. I like the fact that there's a chorus, that there's a discernible chorus. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a catchy, silly chorus, but I like it. I like It's not long. It's only like it's like a fourth the length of a verse, but I like it. I like the guitar solo. I think the guitar solo is great. It's low in volume, but that's kind of across the whole album. But then it comes back for another verse and chorus, and then the song ends. And I like that. Now, fight fire with fire. The only thing that's weird about that song to me is the punkiness of the rhythmic of the vocals. Like, fight fire with fire. Like, that is just not a pleasing... To me, that's like a grating on my ears rather than a pleasing thing to listen to. But I think that that's what they're going for there. Like, that's not... That's
what you mean.
Not necessarily meant for me to sit there and be like, here it comes, fight fire with fire. Like, it's not that kind of a thing, really. Like, but it's doing what the guitars are doing, I think, at that point. So it's kind of like all together. So like, it is a nice chorus. It's discernible. It happens all three times. I like that, the fast thrashy songs. So like that and Trapped Under Ice are two songs that would stand out to me in that regard, being the faster thrashy songs. Fade to Black and For Whom the Bell Tolls really surprised me. And I remember hearing For Whom the Bell Tolls or maybe it's Fade. I can't remember which one. One of those two songs, probably For Whom the Bell Tolls. The first time I heard it, I was like, oh, I can understand that this is the band that made the Black Album, right? Because
that's interesting.
Because you don't really get that feeling at all with the first two tracks. But when you get to For Whom the Bell Tolls, it's like, okay, I can see this. It's a chunky...
For Whom the Bell Tolls... Yes, For Whom the Bell Tolls and Creeping Death, I think, are both like such a good window into what the future of Metallica will be.
I can see that in different ways as well.
Yeah,
because I definitely think that there are moments of For Whom the Bell Tolls that harken to Load and Reload and Black Album, and that's what I like about that. If it didn't fade out, that would probably be my favorite song on the album. But if I remember correctly, it doesn't go. That's the one with the really bad solo. I can't believe I can't remember this. We just listened to it.
From Whom the Bell Tolls is the one that ends on like some pretty like just.
Oh, that's right. It started that different part and then just kind of faded out. Right. Fade to Black is the one where they were
Fade
doing
to Black's the one that
the
hurts,
best guitar solo maybe my favorite guitar solo of all Metallica solos that I've heard. And it just fades out really egregiously. That's right. So,
I think I probably will say Fade to Black is still my favorite song on this album.
Okay.
It's the one I've listened to way far and away the most of all of them. And I've heard them all a million times, and that one probably like 2 million.
Does hearing the remaster here kind of bum you out a little bit, knowing that was the vocals were really low? Like, to me, that was the one where I was like, I wonder if this is the first song they recorded for the album, because it feels quite a bit different.
I don't think I ever really considered how low the vocals were until now.
Okay.
But they are definitely the lowest, like, of all of the songs.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer. But
and it's not something that
doesn't
bothered you.
It doesn't bug me as much as
Yeah.
I had an interesting thought. I don't know. We've talked about our perfect albums.
Yeah.
So, any song, all of them bangers, front to back, nothing's to be skipped. And it's like that. I think that's a solid, simple criteria for a perfect album. I've talked to other people about perfect albums, and they talk about like, is the flow from one song into the next one the best, and thematically and all kinds of garbage. And it's like, I just want every song to be one that I like as much as every other song. I'm not skipping anything, and there's no wasted time, and it's great. I don't think Metallica has a perfect album.
Oh, I don't think so either at all. Not even close, really.
The closest would be, I think if you ask most people, they'd say Black, but I think I'd probably say Justice.
Yeah, I don't think they're even close, but that's fine. But that's fine.
I don't really want to listen to the last song because it's instrumental. So,
right. I don't know. I think.
Yep.
I don't know. That's it. That's an interesting thought. We should definitely talk about perfect albums more another time.
Yeah.
I don't have too much else to say about this. I feel like we did a good job talking between songs and talking during the songs, but tastefully. Hopefully, people will enjoy that tastefully. I am thinking at this point that we will do a premiere for this video. So
nice. Okay.
If that's the case, thank you everybody for watching this and for being here with us for the premiere.
Yeah, I'll be around for that.
I really enjoy when we do those. I really think that that's really great. It helps build the community, I think, a lot.
Plus, I think people can be excited for your redemption on this album.
That's true. That's definitely true. People will have and we weren't really trying while we were listening to this to do lots of inside jokes or anything. I didn't mention, well, there was no reason to mention Godsmack because there was no wah up the wazoo. But we didn't do any sort of inside jokes or anything. I did mention In Flames and give a wink at the camera, but you know, I just wanted to approach this from the standpoint of I want to pay more attention to this album. And it's disappointing to me that now that we're done with it, I'm like, I feel like I'm kind of wasn't missing very much. Like for me, now that I'm sort of settling back and thinking about it, definitely Ride the Lightning is the song off this album that I will take with me.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons for that is the fact that it ends. It actually has an end, and it goes back to the chorus a third time after a long solo, which is a good solo. So, like, on these first 3-4 Metallica albums, that's not necessarily... I guess it's kind of a common thing, but I don't know. This is the Fade Out album, though. So I think most people would think that I wouldn't care for this album as much. And honestly, like it's probably one of my least favorite Metallica albums. I think the more I think about Metallica as a whole, the more like I kind of mentioned this in our Death Magnetic video, but like the more I think about Metallica as a whole, the more it's just starting to frustrate me because
they are frustrating.
They're very frustrating, right? And we'll talk about that more when we talk about them overall as a whole, because I'm really looking forward to those conversations when we talk about them just as a whole and my whole experience doing this and everything. I'm very much looking forward to all that stuff.
Which I cannot wait.
Which we might not get to.
The symphony album.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that as well. I don't know how we're going to do it because it's so long. We'll probably have
2 parts. I mean, it's got 2 parts to it.
Yeah, we'll have to 2-part it for sure. But I'm very much looking forward to that, 100%. So I'm actually way more looking forward to that than Garage Inc. But I think a lot of people on this channel really are looking forward to Garage Inc. a lot.
I'm looking forward to Garage Inc. too. I think that's going to be
people pretty consistently mention like that some of their favorite Metallica songs are on Garage Inc. And I'm just like, how can that possibly be?
I'm telling you, it's true.
It's weird because they're not Metallica.
Merciful
songs,
Fate, Sabracadabra are both so astronomy. I love them. There's so many good things.
That's so crazy, and people have said that it sounds really good, like Load and Reload kind of.
It's right. So. It's in that middle era of Metallica when they were at their best sonically, production wise.
I'm really excited. And so like, let me ask this: are there fast songs on that album?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, on the first disc.
The newer disc, the 98 disc,
because that's when they would have the production like Load and Reload, where they never really did thrashy songs.
I don't think that there are. I think the thrashier, the faster stuff is relegated to the second disc, which is a lot of earlier things.
Right.
But the first disc is a bunch of covers, and it fits very well, very, very nicely into the Load Reload style.
Which I'm excited for that reason. But so then to me, that tells me that I'm guessing a lot of people really like the songs off the second disc a lot.
I don't really care for them.
And I'm curious
I think Am I Evil's good, and I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head that I would want to listen to again.
But the songs you do like are all from the first disc.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Very, very much.
But I like Load and Reload, and most people don't. And so if it's more of the same, then I could see why they would think that.
Yeah, and you know how much I love those two albums. So
yeah.
I was just listening to them the other day over there because I haven't listened to them for a while. Because when we first did Load, I was like, "This is great," and I listened to it quite a bit at the time. And I haven't actually listened to Reload, I don't think, since we did the first one. or since we did the reaction.
Oh, sure.
And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, man, I wish they could just take the best songs off Load, the best songs off Reload, and put them on one album, and it would just, I wouldn't even have to question what my favorite Metallica album is. It would absolutely be that. So even their albums that do sound good that I really like, they still have to, they still...
Or Unload, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Deload, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know how else you could do that. Deload. That's what I'm saying. All right. I don't think this video needs to be much more than this. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. And thank you, Chris, for doing this. And we'll see what happens on the channel moving forward. We'll keep doing stuff when we can. We should be able to record, my goal will try to be for us to do Lulu before we do the Rob Zombie thing. However, because I want to make sure that we get the Rob Zombie thing and I have enough time to do all my stuff I'm going to do around it, Chris, you'll have to have your Halloween costume, which you can just go to Walmart. I was looking today. You can just go to Walmart and for like $15 buy like a full costume. I don't care how much effort you put into it, but you can put as much effort into it as you want. But we'll probably have to be recording the Rob Zombie thing for sure before like October 20th.
Okay.
Just so that I have enough time to edit it and make sure it's going to be uploaded and good to go, and then we can do the premiere for that. So, and I don't know if I'll do it. I'm not necessarily planning on doing the premiere on like Halloween night, because I don't want to it'd be better to do it around there and then just let people, people feel all Halloween-y with it. Yeah. And I don't want to be in people's way or anything with it. So, all right. That's all we need to do in this video. Excuse me. I'm almost made it all the way through without coughing.
Almost.
Thank you everyone very much. We will see you next time.